Hello out there, this is Wakeangel2K1 coming at you with the promised comparison video where I compare the Death Egg Robot, the official Death Egg Robot, to my custom one that I made all those years ago. But first, take a look at the Death Egg Robot now. The observant may notice something. I actually have him in a pose. Yes, this is the most simple, basic pose that you would want your Death Egg Robot to pull off, bending the elbows 90 degrees so that the fingers are pointed forward, like he was in the video game. Yeah, I got some people saying that the Death Egg Robot never really did a whole bunch of moving in the games themselves, so why does the robot need to really move? Like, okay, you know what? Just pipe down, folks, pipe down. First of all, in Sonic 4, Episode 1, where the final boss is the Death Egg Robot, that thing finished off the game by doing a massive 3-point landing into the ground, destroying the entire stage. So, you know, we know the Death Egg Robot can move, okay? Just because in the sprite artwork it doesn't do a lot doesn't mean that it really shouldn't be poseable. That's just not good reasoning. But anyway, you may be wondering, hey Wake Angel, how is it that you managed to actually alter your Death Egg Robot so that the arms are actually useful for things? How did you do this, you magnificent stallion? Well, the answer is earbuds. Yes, the little rubber thingies from the ends of earbuds. I stretched one out over the joint, and this provides extra friction so that when plugged in, the arms can actually hold poses other than pendulously hanging at the figure's side. So now I have a Death Egg Robot that is actually able to, you know, do stuff. Now this isn't exactly the easiest thing to do. I had to like wedge it on using using paper clips and everything. It's not enough just to get this part of it stretched. You actually have to take this internal piece and stretch this thing out over those joints. So you gotta really do some wedging and stretching to get this thing on there. So it's not the easiest thing in the world to stretch those things on, but once you do, then you create just enough friction that the arms can actually hold poses. Of course, now that they're tighter in there, you can't exactly, you can't exactly eject them anymore. They don't eject with the gimmick. So now only the legs pop out. But hey, you know what? I will sacrifice a gimmick to improve posability because I'm an adult collector, I care less for gimmicks, and I care more for toys that look cool. So that's my trade-off. So that being said, let us finally take a look at my classic Death Egg Robot Custom and compare it to the official toy. And here it is, a side-by-side comparison between my original Death Egg Robot made close to 10 years ago and the brand new, just made Jakks Pacific official Death Egg Robot toy. Mine's bigger. Okay, now let us put all the caveats here. To be fair, my Death Egg Robot is based on his appearance in the Archie comic book, not the actual game model. And also, I don't really make the Death Egg Robots like this anymore. I use more 3D printed parts, so the square hands and the relatively small shins based off of those Mars robot legs are things that I don't use anymore. And it's also worth noting that this robot had gone into a pretty bad state of disrepair. Way back then, I still used Super Sculpey for my sculpting, and parts of the figure had, you know, worn out. They had gotten sticky from having paint react with the clay. It turns out that I had too tightly bound the Lego pieces, so they had lost their flexibility, and some of them had cracked. So, and in fact, when I used this Death Egg Robot as a prop in my last intro sequence, remember the stop motion where I jump up with the giant paintbrush and turn a mass-produced Death Egg Robot into this thing? Its shoulder was already broken and hanging limply at its side. I had to pose the robot in such a way that wasn't noticeable. But now, all the damaged pieces have been repaired. I replaced the clay parts with the 3D sculpted bits that I use today. In fact, you'll be able to see them a little bit easier from the profile. Although, ironically, my original sculpted bits work better, were technically more accurate because they were like two balls, which actually replicates the in-game video the in-video game appearance a little bit better with the two balls. It's funny how that works out because these 3D printed parts are made to replicate the look from Sonic Generations. So, yeah, that's how that goes. But yes, that is what the official Death Egg Robot toy looks like next to my old custom. So there we go. And also, as we may remember, my Death Egg Robot does have a little bit more flexibility. After all, his knees can bend a little bit deeper. I can also do that little splayed leg thing that this guy has. I can raise the arms up. This one doesn't have quite as much friction. I had to put a little bit of floor polish in there. But yeah, my robot is very flexible and poseable, is what I'm trying to get at. So, yeah, that's always been the thing that I was always proud of with my Death Egg Robot. Now there is one more thing. A couple of commenters asked if the new Jakks Pacific Dr. Eggman figures could still ride in this thing's cockpit the same way that a Jazzwares one could. And quite frankly, I never tried that, so let's give it a shot. Here is the new classic Dr. Eggman. Putting him in, and whoa! I swear that's never happened before. I popped that right off the ball joint. It doesn't look good. It looks like his shoulders are too wide. Yep, he's not going in there. Can I contrive it? Okay, that's almost. Wow, I cannot believe that that's still standing. Okay, let's I'm like going full on, doing everything I can to minimize, like, feet backwards. Bend those elbows, tuck them behind the head. Hand popped off. Okay. And I can't screw the head back on. The figure's hand is pushing up on the back of the head, preventing me from screwing it on completely. So theoretically, I can cram the Jakks Pacific Eggman in there, but not in any way that looks remotely comfortable. In fact, it looks more like you're stuffing his semi-dismembered corpse into it. So, yes, the Jakks Pacific Eggman is a bit too big to go sticking into the cockpit of my custom Death Egg Robot. I wonder if the Kool-Aid container one, which is a little bit bigger, would actually fare any better. But first, let's try the new Jakks Pacific Modern Eggman, who isn't quite as big around the shoulders. So let's get his legs up into something resembling a sitting or squatting position. Okay. Alright, this is looking a little better. Okay. He actually looks like he's somewhat riding in there. Now get the head back on. And there we go. The modern Jakks Pacific Eggman can fit in the cockpit of my original Death Egg Robot. I'm sure a lot of you were really happy to see that. Hey, remember this one? It's my custom of the mass-produced Death Egg Robot from Sonic Forces. Yeah, this was a commission that I made that the commissioner never paid for it, so it's kind of been sitting here ever since. Now, I have been meaning to upgrade this guy because, like, he still uses, like, the foam board and craft foam, like, and I always kind of thought that maybe the biceps of the arms were a little bit too skinny. I just kind of used a half yo-yo to make the shoulder thing, but underneath. So I was thinking of upgrading this guy with some 3D printed parts to make it look a little bit more toyetic, but it is still the Death Egg Robot with all the posability that my Death Egg Robots usually have. In fact, this one holds up a little better because it's only a couple of years old as opposed to the decade-old toy that is mostly worn out by now. But yes, my it's still taller. It still has the thing, and instead of using an old Bionicle tube, its cockpit is made out of a Kool-Aid container. You know, where you get the powder mix so that you can, you know, you mix it with water to make Kool-Aid. So inside there is a little bit bigger than the cockpit area for my you know, my first Death Egg Robot. So any subsequent Death Egg Robots that I make use this container instead of that old Bionicle tube. So since it's bigger, let's see if we can fit the Jakks Pacific Classic Eggman in there. Alright, looking good so far. His shoulders are in. Okay, this is looking a lot better. Let's get that head back over him. Come on. Get down all the way. Wait. Yeah. Okay, I felt what was going on there. Width-wise, he was fitting, but length-wise, no. So let's bend those legs. Splay the feet out. Okay, so Dr. Eggman is basically kneeling in the pod with his feet tucked behind himself. Okay, there we go. That's as low as I'm going to be able to get him in. Okay, I'm feeling more confident about this. I cannot see the LCD screen on my camera right now, so I can only hope that I have everything in the shot as I rotate this. There we go. Yes! The classic Dr. Eggman figure will fit inside of a Death Egg Robot using the components that I use today. That is the Kool-Aid container. Yep, so that fits. And if anyone is wondering, it's this. I mean, I peeled the labels off, but this is the Kool-Aid container that I use as the cockpit space inside of a Death Egg Robot. So, very simple screw base lid. I had to cut this part out or else Dr. Eggman will fit in it. But yes, this is the core of this robot. Alright, so that has been the official Death Egg Robot toy in comparison to the Death Egg Robot toys that I've made. And I hope that you guys liked this video and got something out of it. And I also hope that you guys appreciate the advice on how to turn your limp noodle-shouldered Eggman robot figure into an actual poseable robot figure with just a couple of pieces of rubber. So this has been Wakeangel2K1, and I'm signing off.